Good evening, everyone. Tonight's shave, like many of my other previous videos, is inspired by my dear friend Dave Card. Dave just got himself a Kamisori razor, and I believe he made a video earlier today. So that inspired me to make one as well. This is our razor here. This is a traditional Japanese Kamisori. You can see it's asymmetric. This is made by a producer called Kananaga. And picked this up on eBay about a year or so ago. For those that aren't familiar with this type of razor and maybe you're shopping for one and don't really understand the terminology, that is a traditional, I guess, Eastern grind or asymmetric grind, traditional Japanese grind. This particular one, this is made by a company called J3 Forge. And this, if you can see here, is symmetrical. Both faces are the same. That is called a Western grind. It's my understanding that the traditional Eastern or asymmetric grind was designed for barbers. There's a left-handed and a right-handed version. I don't know which one I have. I shave with both sides of this particular razor, so I couldn't really answer that question for you. But that's about all I know about traditional Kamisoris. So for lather today, we'll be using the Spikeman soap shave cream in a tube. Can't talk tonight. Brush we've got here is a Vikings Blade brand with a 24mm synthetic knot. So let's get the face wet here. Apologize for the funny camera angle. My little stand I normally use for my phone. We're using Hendrix Classics bowl here. My stand I have for my phone, I don't have it with me, and I'm actually using the tablet that I'm sort of hanging on top of the mirror here. Not too thrilled by the way it adjusts to the light in the bathroom either, so. But anyhow, so another thing I was thinking about as I was prepping for this shave here, these shave cream in a tube products. I know they're not as fashionable as like an artisan soap, but they really do produce a. Let me get a little water in there. Very easy and very nice lather without using a lot of product. About as much, it's like a toothpaste tube, and I use about as much as I would toothpaste on a toothbrush. I may have overhydrated this a little bit as I'm rambling on here, but some of the shave cream products on the market, whether it's a Taylor of Old Bond Street type of thing in a tub, or your Spike, your Nivea, even your Derby and Arcro creams, you can really whip up a really nice lather pretty easily with these products, and I forget how nice they are. Alright. They're still much better performing and probably much better on the skin than anything you're going to get from your foam in a can type products. I do think I overhydrated a bit, but we can work with it. I love the smell of this stuff. I don't know how to describe it. Almost like I'm getting a little bit of a pininess to it. Alright. Okay. I did a few strokes on the strop with the razor before we started recording here, so I think we're probably in good shape. It's been ages since I used this. If I do nick myself, I'm going to have to go in the other room and get my styptic pencil. I don't have it in here. So let's see. But I don't recall it being too tough. I remember it being pretty forgiving last time I used it, which was well over a year ago. Here we go. Yeah, that's a hydrated lather. A little runnier than I like it. But it's doing just fine in the slickness department. That feels nice. I think some have said that part of the other advantage to this asymmetric type grind is that you can get an extremely sharp edge, perhaps more than you can with a traditional symmetric Western grind. So now I'm using the other side of the razor. I find it shaves just as well either side, it's just the angle's different. I'm going to assume that the way I was doing it on my other cheek is probably the way it's intended to be used, because this is quite awkward. But it's cutting very well, it feels nice. No carnage up to this point. And this part here is my, it's my sort of litmus test about a blade. And this feels pretty good, but I think I could probably give it a few laps with some paste. And improve the sharpness just a little bit. Very nice. So if you haven't seen my my previous video where I was dealing with shavettes, I was talking about how in some cases people are a little bit uncomfortable or intimidated by a non-folding razor if they're used to using a folding razor. I'd say everything I said in that video applies here. for those who are traditional straight razor users. But with the Eastern grind, there's also the added adjustment to the angle. Okay, I think we did all right for our first pass. Let me dry off the blade here on a dry towel. I think I will give it a little stropping here. Unfortunately, my strop is not visible on the camera. One thing I can say about this particular type of razor, number one, I'm not going to say all, but most of them, the blade length is a lot shorter than when you get out of a traditional straight razor. It's usually about 50 millimeters, which is about 2 inches. Your typical straight razor is, you know, I would say probably 2 3/4. So, you know, I like having a wide strop, like a 3-inch wide strop, so I don't have to have a perfect, you know, X stroke when I strop my razor. These guys being shorter, you can get away with a 2 or 2.5 inch strop. I have a 2.5 inch strop I'm using here. And also, the whole thing about flipping it over, when you have a fixed handle like this, it's really easy to just flip it. So it's more of a fluid motion without worrying about the scales getting in the way. So I would definitely say stropping is way easier on this type of Kamisori fixed non-folding straight razor. Okay, that's enough there. Let me rinse up a bit. We'll put some more lather on. Stir that up a little more. Okay. Again, it's been a while, but I have to imagine my south to north pass, I'm going to have to get accustomed to that angle again. Alright, we're a little thin with the lather for the second pass, but that's okay. I don't mind. I can work with that. I may need a little more product for a third pass. So here we're going to hold it like this, and we're going to come up, and this is where I'm thinking the angle might seem funny, but let's give it a whirl. Yeah, not so bad. Not sure if you can hear that audible feedback, but we're getting plenty of it. Most of these are not going to sing like a full hollow grind straight razor. Blades tend to be a bit more rigid and less likely to flex. And this will pass the Johann test, I think. Now it's making a liar out of me, but it's a lot more hydrated, a lot more drippy or runny of a lather than I usually would use. Similar to what I was saying about the non-folding chevettes, I do, to some extent, feel a lot less constrained by not having the scales in my way. As I was discussing with Dave earlier today, I haven't had the privilege of honing this type of razor, so I don't really know what to expect. If you've got experience honing one of these, feel free to leave a comment below there. But to date, I haven't had one of these to hone. Okay, feel how we did on pass number 2. Generally my thing is 2 complete passes and then usually a little bit of sort of sideways against the grain here on the cheeks, and then one more pass on the neck. I screwed up the hydration on that initially here. I'm going to put a little bit more my spiked cream there in the bowl. And whip up some additional lather here. That's whipping up real nice. That's how I like it. Impervious to gravity. That's how I like my lather. Okay. And we'll give her a few passes on the strop, just for good measure. If you're new to straight razor shaving in general, Stropping is a pretty important thing, and it's something that is a new skill that you cannot expect to pick up right away. My first strop was it wasn't a real leather, it was a synthetic material, and I sliced that thing right up. I just wasn't moving the razor in the correct direction and was trying to work kind of fast and ended up just slicing right into the strop, and it was garbage at that point. That's why for new straight razor users, I never recommend getting a particularly good strop as a beginner. Get a cheaper one or get a vintage one that's in reasonably good shape. That's going to work well with your razor, but don't get a nice $100 plus Tony Miller strop for your first go around. And you're probably going to dull out the edge on your first razor too with improper stropping technique. So always expect that if you're going to take the plunge into traditional straight razor shaving. Alright, that's about the lather I normally want here. I'll do the big brush squeeze, get a fair bit more out of it, get it all a little thicker. It's not really needed for this final pass here, but I put a little more product in the bowl, I may as well use it. I've experimented a little bit. Certain shave creams and soaps have a really nice post-shave feel to me and have really good, skin-friendly ingredients with them. And I've also, on occasion, I'll finish up my shave and I'll do the brush squeeze, and I'll actually, after I've rinsed off, I'll put some additional product on the face, let it soak for a bit, and then just towel dry it. And in some cases, not necessarily put an aftershave product on if it's a good smooth shave without a lot of irritation, and if I'm using a good something with a good post shave feel. Anyhow. So for me on the neck especially, I kind of feel like I have a tough time. The traditional razor with scales, moving the blade at some of these angles like I was over here. Over here, no problem, but maybe down here on the neck. But this guy is a little more nimble. Anyhow, your mileage may vary. You do what works for you. I'm not trying to come up with selling points. For switching to non-folding razors, but just mentioning some of the things that I find I like about them. I just say they're different. Don't be afraid of them. But respect the fact that they're different and be very cautious when you first try them. And while we're all used to maybe certain things, for me, part of what I love about this hobby is trying different ways, different mechanisms, different methods of doing the same thing. If I wanted to do it the same every time, I probably wouldn't have quite so much of a collection. I certainly have tried or even bought razors that were different. You rinse a little bit more. And just too different for me to where I couldn't get accustomed to them, and I'd either give them away, sell them, or just store it away and not use it. But definitely like to do a variety of things. All right, we're about where we need to be with the shave here. So let me dry up here with the towel. Well, I can tell I got no irritation, definitely no, I don't see any weepers, any nicks anywhere, I didn't feel anything. So that is a pretty forgiving razor, given that I haven't touched it in a year, and I just picked it up. I'm not going to take credit for having superb skill. I'm going to say it's the razor, because having not touched something like that for a year, that says something about that razor. Anyhow, let's go ahead and finish up. We're just going to do our White Star balm here, and this is the badass scent. I used that on my previous travel shave. I don't have any Spike aftershave product, so generally it's going to be this, or it's going to be the traditional Hendrix Classics balm that I use on a shave if I don't have a matching aftershave product to the soap or cream. Anyhow, that'll about do it. So to sum up here, we did our Kananaga traditional Kamisori. We used our Spike Men's cream, and we finished it off with the Hendrix White Star. Thank you for the inspiration, Dave. This was fun. Everybody have a good one.